Welcome to the Brandon Beeyard Show. It's another episode of our summer long series entitled Free as Can Be. That's me. And this is the summer where I take a little pause from living my life in Austin, exile myself to Florida. I figure out how to build an online business. I rebuild my life, and then I go back to Texas probably. But that's it. That's the summer experiment. We're about halfway, a third of the way through it here. Oh God, I wish it were halfway. A third of the way. Um, so I want to tell you, I went. Yes, of course. White hot boomer summer continues. Living with the boomers all summer long. Some intergenerational knowledge sharing. I'm giving a lot of tech support. I'm receiving a lot of, I don't know, get a job messages. So yeah, I left this past week. I didn't do a show last week because I was on a trip. I was doing my cross Florida road trip or trans Florida road trip, although that might mean something entirely different. And I did not go to Miami. So it was more, it wasn't as fun as all that. So left here, left Pensacola, went down to Sarasota to visit my dad, who is even more of a boomer than my mom because he's 11 years older and he is so boomer. He is older than a boomer. He's so boomer. He's the generation before boomers. He's the silent generation. That's right. The generation before the baby boomers, the ones before the greatest generation who fought in World War II, and the boomers, they're ungrateful children. You got the silent generation. They're like the Gen Xers of the early mid 20th century. They're the World War II Gen Xers. I don't even know. I don't even know how to make a reference joke to that. They're closer to they were born closer to the Civil War than they are today. Then is that right? Is that how that works? I don't know. Anyway, so went down to Sarasota and I did this trip. It was nice. Went to visit some friends, family, had a good time, got to see other parts of Florida, and I got to ask myself, is Florida for me? Do I want to stay here longer term? So let's run it down. First stop, Sarasota. Sarasota. Oh, by the way, well done, Dad, on doing the most boomer thing ever and being old and living in Sarasota. Well done. Like, couldn't be more on the nose than that. At least live in the villages or something. So went to Sarasota. It's nice. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's a little bit of a nicer version of Pensacola. They got the whole downtown on the bay situation. Clearly a lot of money. You got my dad's condo, which is like 40 years old. And then right by it, there's this whole complex that's owned by the Ritz Carlton, and they're building like two more towers there. So clearly a lot of money going on. You look out over the bay, then there's a Longboat Key, is the island, is the beach area. It's pretty, and you can boat around pretty easily. I guess they don't get hurricanes, but I'll tell you what, it is just as hot as humid as Pensacola. No better. Sarasota, yeah, nothing to do there. Nice, nothing to do. So I'm not going to move to Sarasota. So I spent a couple days there. Um, Went up to Jacksonville for the rest of the trip. So I did a little X right through Orlando, right through. I got to see Universal Studios like right off the exit there. It made me want to be there so bad. I want to go. I want to drink butter beer. I want to do it. I want to be a tourist. I want to go. I want to go. I want to go. So went right through that. What a cock tease that was to just have to drive by all of the really fun looking rides and resorts and be like, nope, can't go there. Some people wait their whole lives to see the tops of those rides poking up off the highway. And I've done all those rides, but man, it is hard to just drive up. I should have gone. Should have gone and bought a butter beer and then had a real beer and then did some mushrooms and ride the rides. Would have been amazing. We're going to table that. Come back to that. So went up and did went skydiving in DeLand. Where the hell is DeLand? Well, it's near Daytona. And I did that because it was on my way. But DeLand is actually like the OG headquarters of skydiving. It's like the birthplace of the sport, and it's still kind of ground zero for it today. Like all the parachute manufacturers, all the gear companies are a lot of them at least are have offices right there at the drop zone. And the drop zone, I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting something that wasn't the case. I was expecting like I don't know, like a giant drop zone, but it really wasn't. It wasn't any bigger than mine in Texas. It was fine, but it was in this busy municipal airport with like a lot of air traffic. So it wasn't like its own thing. You would have thought it would be its own thing, but it's not. So it was kind of cool. They had a sports bar there. Went and did that. I don't know. I just got a vibe from that place like this is where people come to train, but it's not like the best community. My drop zone in Austin you could just tell there's a community when you go. This is a little different. And so, fun thing about going to a new drop zone, you have to examine like an aerial map of the surroundings and figure out what's going on so you can land. You're flying a parachute. It's like flying a glider, an unmotorized plane. You got to do a landing pattern and all that stuff. And so, yeah, you're always shitting yourself a little bit the first time you jump out of a plane. You're like, well, hopefully I figure this out. And I did. But, they show you the different landing areas. Now, this is an active airport. This is the busiest airport I've ever skydived out of before. There are 3 active runways that like crisscross each other. And, they showed me, they're like, okay, now over here, outside all of the runway madness on the edge, this is like the experienced jumper. You got to have 500 jumps to land here. That's not me. I'm at 275. Halfway there. So then they're like, well, you can land in the beginner area. And I'm like, all right, I'll land in the beginner area. Show me that. It is right in the middle of these crisscrossing runways. It is a triangle in the middle of these active runways. I call it the triangle of death. You've got to land. Oh, you want to be a beginner? Get to land in the triangle of death. Why is it that the case? Because you've got to look out. You could get smacked by a plane as you're coming in for a landing. So I landed in the triangle of death 3 times. No problem. No problem. No problem. The first time, though, I was trying to figure out, I was trying to make sure I had it right. I was looking for this one landmark and I couldn't find it. And I'm like, oh, shit. Well, probably won't get hit by a plane. Figured it out, landed fine. It was great. Re-pulled my leg, which I had already pulled back like a month ago skydiving. I was coming in too fast for landing and ran it out. Immediately pulled it. It's like standing still and then running 20 miles an hour is what happened. So stood it up though. Anyway, I figured that out. I think I got that under control. Then we did that, went up to Jacksonville, had a great gas station piece of pizza, racetrack, amazing. Then went up to Jacksonville and when did I start this? 5 minutes? Okay. And then we did Jacksonville. Now, I've been to Jacksonville many, many times, and I have heard the siren song of Jacksonville many, many times. I lived there for 4 years, and I told myself, never again while I live in this place. And then every time I go back, it gets a little bit better. It gets a little bit better. It has a little bit more. I see more hot girls, and there were no girls when I lived in Jacksonville. But you see more hot girls. You're like, oh, maybe this is it. Maybe it's turned the corner. But It hasn't turned the corner. Now, I stayed out in the beach area, and I have to say that because if you've ever been to Jacksonville, you know it is twice the size of the state of Rhode Island, and that's not an exaggeration, that's a literal fact. There's different parts of it. It's not one cohesive city. Beaches. That's the only place to be there. But, I'm sitting there just wondering, do I want to live here? Would I ever really move back? Um, and the answer is no. It's tempting. It's tempting when you have friends somewhere. Like Jacksonville is just always about to turn a corner. It's always about to be there and it never arrives. It's a city that's always almost there and never arrives. You still have to drive 20 minutes to get anywhere. Nice. It's nice enough. The beach is nice enough, I guess. But like you just get a lot of people out there whose lives are not together. It's like I feel like a lot of people there are living a life of quiet desperation. Like they moved to Jacksonville and they're like, "Oh, this is pretty good. There's water." And then they get there and trying to make it work, trying to justify it. Well, it's not Miami. It's pretty freaking close. No, it's not. And maybe I'm projecting because when I lived there, I was definitely living a life of quiet desperation, working at Enitech in a cubicle, trying to strangle myself with a phone cord every day. But enough about me. That's just the sense I get. I feel like people there are like, it's kind of like why people go to Thailand. They're like hiding out from life. It's just a sense of, I don't know what I'm doing. This is pretty good, right? It's like they almost want to move to Miami, but but then just move to Miami. Why are you in like there's a lot of like superficialness in Jacksonville. There's like a lot of people who work out, gym lifestyle, drink hard, party hard, probably do a lot of blow. Look good on the surface, but just lives are a complete shit show right underneath. Just met enough people like that over there. I don't know. It's like these are all candidates of people to take Oceanic Flight 870 out to the island and lost and get their lives figured out. Or maybe die in the plane crash. I don't know. But that's kind of the vibe I get. Sure, some people there have it figured out. But I think a lot of like why didn't you just move to Miami? Like you're in a place that's like not even the main thing. You should do the superficial thing in Miami. If you're going to do it, don't do it somewhere else. I will say that Atlantic sea breeze is really nice. It's the only place in Florida that feels a little bit cooler and not like a hot, humid hellscape in the swamp of hell in the summer. So, once again, I don't think I'm moving to Florida. Watch me say that, and then a month from now, I'm living in Jacksonville. It's hard. It's hard when your friends live somewhere and they don't want to live where you want to live. I think I'll probably go back to Austin, is the plan. Yeah, where does that leave me? I'm back here, back in Pensacola. Let's talk about the personalities of different cities for a minute. So we talked about Jacksonville, superficial, quiet, desperation. What the hell am I doing in this place? But I'm going to try to make it work. I'm going to double down until I'm a lifer here. There's that. And then there's where else have I lived? Like before I move on to that, and that's kind of every city in Florida too. It's kind of like we don't know what we're doing, so let's move to Florida. It's kind of every city in Florida. They all have like just there's no personality to any of these places. There's not. Florida's a nice state, but no personality. It's a place people move from other places. Even in Pensacola, which is like an older city, has a history. I don't know what the culture is. I don't know what the personality is. It's just there. I don't know the water. It's like having the water is an excuse for not having to have a personality. It's like hot girl thing. Like I've got this. I've got the tits. I don't have to grow a personality. I've got the beach. What more do you want? You don't like the beach? Get out of here. That's kind of how I feel. Oh, interesting that I discovered that. Where else have I lived? New Orleans. Now, New Orleans, and this is why I loved it for so long, had a personality. New Orleans' personality is we're going to have a good fucking time. We don't know what we're doing about running the city. This place is dysfunctional, but we throw the best party in the world. That's New Orleans. You come here, we're going to make sure you eat some good food, have a good time, make a bunch of bad decisions. And that's it. But we want you to have a good time and feel welcome when you do it. That's New Orleans. And that's great. I love it. Caribbean work ethic. But, you know, American wealth, I guess. I don't know. Not that wealthy of a place. Gotta love New Orleans. Then there's Austin. It's just the city built around strivers, people trying to build something for good and bad. Austin has like split personalities because you've got the, I don't know, weirdo progressive thing going on. And then you've got just an ultra dynamic, rich city. You got all these people who are influencers and talk about Miami. Like you got the influencer scene, but like it's more spiritually grounded. It's all over the place, but I love it and it works. And 10 minutes outside of Austin, there's cow fields and cornfields, and um, you can't grow cows in a field. It's cow pasture. It's great. No hurricanes. Not humid. 107 degrees in the summer, but that's all right. It's not humid. It's fine. Now, Austin is, in a way, kind of like a beta version of, LA or New York. But that's all right. It's kind of what I'm looking for. So, right now, I think I'll go back. Can't hide out in Florida forever. All right. Here's the other thing I wanted to tell you about business. Where am I at? Part of this summer series is about rebuilding, my life, rebuilding a business or building a business, starting over. What am I going to do? And, I just want to be honest and be open. It's been hard because, I try things, they don't work out. I guess a lot of the things that I try aren't really aligned with what I want to do ultimately. And so I give up on them after a while. But I got a good test of that this past weekend. So I spent a week building a AI voice agent business for home service companies. Why did I do? Do I really want to service home service? It was I had an easy method to get the business owners, their cell phone numbers and text them. And outreach is so hard in business. It's like the main thing. So that is like, in my opinion, like 60% of it. So I had an easy method of reaching out to people, to prospects. And it was like cheap. So I did it. I downloaded this app. I watched Chris Kerner from the current office on YouTube. He's the one who showed me all this. He did a video about basically you install this app on your computer. It links up to your iMessage, and then it allows you to mass text people from so that it shows up blue prospects and start conversations. So I did that. And one thing Chris Kerner never told me was that you were going to get blocked and reported as spam, and your iMessage was going to get shut down, which is exactly what happened. It apparently, and Apple will not tell you how many people have to report you as spam before they shut down your iMessage account. It's not a lot. I mean, I probably got responses from 12 people, maybe 15. We'll say 20 to be generous. It only took like 3 of them, I'm thinking, to report me as spam because all of a sudden, the next day, I'm sending iMessages to my friends because I'm going to Jacksonville the next day. It's all green. No response. So I call them. Yep, sure enough, message is not going through. The text messages aren't going through. I have all kinds of days of issues with iMessage, basically. It comes on, it goes off. Some people it works, some people it doesn't work. And I'm talking to ChatGPT and I'm giving it all the symptoms. And it's like, well, I don't think you really are getting blocked and reported as spam. This sounds like a random network. It sounds like a random network issue. It doesn't seem like a spam thing. You didn't do it enough. And I'm like, in your gut, you're like, nah, I think you're wrong. So I have issues with my iMessage all weekend. Finally, the second time I talked to Apple, the rep was like, yeah, you got reported as spam. You're blocked. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know anything about that. So could you reinstate it? So yeah, they reinstated my iMessage. Bottom line was the whole outreach method I had worked on and trial and error figured out over a week. Can't do it anymore. Now there are ways to mass text other people using, a phone number that is an iMessage, but it's not going to be as good. So that kind of gave me pause. You hit a setback like that. You're like, am I really committed to this? I could find a workaround. Do I really want this? And I'm not giving up yet. A good income stream is a good income stream, and this might be a good one. But it kind of gave me this whole, what do I want to do here? What's really important? What am I avoiding? And so I just started thinking, I want to do this. I want to build a show. I want to do stuff in media. I want to, I have all of this expertise from years of podcasting and YouTubing and figuring out strategy around all that and building systems to publish shows. So, is it just as easy instead of to message the owners of HVAC companies to find people who are like me, who are trying to produce content? Maybe they don't have the systems they need. They need some strategy help, things like that. Is it just as easy to service them? Maybe. Maybe it's just too close to the thing I'm trying to do. Like the part of me that wants to be a show host, that like it's a little scarier. There's identity involved, where when I'm doing something, when I'm reaching out to roofing companies, there's no identity involved, which makes it much easier from a business perspective. But do I need to wrestle? Well, I mean, do I need to like overcome this whole identity thing? Is it really easier than I'm thinking? Or am I just overcomplicating it because it's closer to the thing I want to do? And if I fail at that, then it's like failure closer to who I want to be kind of thing. These are all big questions. And I think the answer is yes. I think the answer is, I think it is. I do make it harder. Although I have tried to do outreach in that kind of field before. And again, the outreach is the hardest part. The outreach is the thing you got to figure. Once you have that, like a good method, you're golden. So I don't know. Right now, I'm thinking of working on something more towards other content creators, helping them, solving problems that I've already solved for myself, basically. Where you're like the first customer because you're the one who realized this is a problem. I think that's always a good place to start. And maybe I let past failures create this like limiting belief around starting an offering in this area, you know? Because push comes to the shove. I don't know shit about HVAC business. I have to talk to them. I have to hear about them. I have to understand their point of view if I'm really going to create something that serves them. Whereas if it's something around content creation, YouTube, podcasting, I've done it every which way and thought about it for a million hours. Not always an entertaining show, but I know what I'm doing. I already have the proof, right? But it's hard. It's hard when you've struggled your whole life to be something and do something. And you just don't, I don't know. There's just a lot of static there. There's a lot of fizz. There's a lot of fizz. Got to get out of the fizz. Fizz feels good sometimes.